All right, Yankees fans, let's talk about what's really going on in the Bronx because this season has been another wild, frustrating ride. You look at the Yankees right now, and it just feels like a storm that's been building for years finally started to pour down. Aaron Judge, the face of the franchise, the man who's carried this team on his back since he burst onto the scene back in 2017, is staring down another year without a championship. And for a player of his talent, for someone who's put up historic numbers, that just feels wrong. This guy is one of the greatest hitters of the modern era, someone who's given everything to this team. And yet when you look at his trophy case, it's empty where that World Series ring should be. It's honestly crazy to think about. When you look back at Yankees history, the legends Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams, even guys like Petit and Tino, they all got their rings. Multiple ones. The Yankees have always been that team that didn't just play for October, they lived there. But since 2009, there's been nothing. No rings, no parades, no glory. And for Judge, that's starting to weigh heavy. The man's in his mid-30s now. He's not that young slugger who shocked the world anymore. He's a veteran, a leader, and yet every October it feels like we end up in the same conversation. What went wrong this time? And if we're being real, a lot has gone wrong. Since the moment Aaron Judge arrived, the Yankees have been trying to build this powerhouse lineup around him. They went out and brought in Giancarlo Stanton, a move that looked like it was going to create one of the scariest duos baseball had ever seen. Two massive sluggers, both capable of hitting the ball into another galaxy. On paper, that lineup was supposed to be unstoppable, but it never really worked out that way. Stanton couldn't stay healthy, and when he was in the lineup, it always felt like the team relied too heavily on the home run. The contact hitting, the small ball style that used to make the Yankees dangerous, just disappeared. Then there's DJ LeMahieu, who at one point was the spark of the team. He came in, played his heart out, got clutch hits when it mattered most, but time catches up with everyone. He's not the same player anymore. And honestly, it feels like the Yankees are still trying to find that balance that he used to bring. Instead, what we've seen is a lineup that too often looks lost. One game they'll score 10 runs, the next they can't hit anything. And in the postseason, that inconsistency kills them. This year, the Yankees were favorites for most of the season to make it back to the World Series. It looked like everything was aligning. The pitching rotation was solid, the offense was healthy, and Judge was doing Judge things. But then October came, and it all fell apart again. They barely survived the wild card, squeaked through in 3 games, and then got absolutely dismantled by the Toronto Blue Jays in the division series. Outside of one game where the bats woke up, the Yankees looked lifeless. No energy, no spark, and absolutely no plan at the plate. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, the management. Aaron Boone has been given chance after chance, and year after year we're watching the same movie with a different ending, but the same result, disappointment. Boone seems like a nice guy, someone you grab a drink with, but being a nice guy doesn't win you championships. His in-game decisions have been questionable at best and infuriating at worst. Whether it's pulling a hot hitter for a gut feeling matchup or sticking with struggling players out of loyalty, it just hasn't worked. Yankees fans aren't blind. They see what's happening, and it's getting harder and harder to justify why he's still in that dugout. But it's not just Boone. Brian Cashman's name keeps coming up too. He's been running this team forever, and while there's no denying the success he's had in the past, the game has changed. Other teams, the Dodgers, the Astros, even the Blue Jays now, they're spending, developing, and adapting. Meanwhile, the Yankees look stuck. They're not the free-spending monsters they used to be. Hal Steinbrenner, unlike his father, just doesn't seem to have that same fire. George Steinbrenner wanted to win at any cost. Hal, he looks more interested in turning a profit. That's just the truth. It's wild to think about how much has changed. The Yankees used to be the team that other franchises feared because they knew New York would outspend, out-recruit, and outplay them. But now it feels like they've lost that edge. The scouting hasn't been sharp, the analytics department seems to be running the show instead of common sense, and there's no identity. What kind of baseball do the Yankees play? Are they a power-hitting team? A defensive one? A small ball team? Nobody really knows. And when a team doesn't know what it is, it's not going to win anything. And then there's the personal side of all this. For fans, it's exhausting. You grow up watching the Yankees dominate, and now it's like every season ends with the same heartbreak. You get your hopes up, you watch Judge hit moonshots, the crowd goes crazy, and then boom, the season crashes in October. Fans are angry, and they should be. They've been loyal through years of mediocrity disguised as competitive baseball. They don't want another 70 or 80-win season. They want that championship feeling again. It's not just about the wins, though. Sports means something deeper. They're the escape, the connection, the thing that brings families and friends together. When your team wins, life just feels lighter. And when your team keeps losing, especially like this, it stings. For many fans, the last time the Yankees won it all was when they were kids. Imagine being a diehard fan in your 20s and never seeing the team you love reach the mountaintop. It's brutal. You start to wonder if it'll ever happen again. And that's where this all circles back to Aaron Judge. The man deserves better. He's done everything right. Carried the team, stayed loyal, led by example, been the face of the franchise in every sense. Yet every year, he's surrounded by the same old problems. Injuries, inconsistency, bad management, lack of urgency. He's like Don Mattingly all over again, one of the greats who might never get that ring in pinstripes. That comparison hurts, but it's starting to feel true. So here we are again, another offseason ahead, another round of big questions. What's the plan? Are they finally going to make real changes? Are they going to spend like a New York team should? Or are we going to see another year of press conferences full of empty promises? Fans are tired of hearing, we're close, or we just need to make small adjustments. No, the Yankees need an overhaul, a fresh start, a new direction, because the clock is ticking and the Judge era, as great as it's been individually, risks being remembered for what it didn't accomplish rather than what it did. And that's the tragedy here. Not because the Yankees are bad, but because they're wasting greatness. They have one of the best players of this generation, and somehow they keep finding new ways to come up short. It's not just unlucky anymore. It's systemic. It's cultural. It's organizational. Something has to give, because the Bronx deserves better, and Aaron Judge deserves better. And as we move deeper into this conversation about the Yankees, it's impossible not to talk about the roster, the talent, and what's coming next. The free agency period is looming, and the team has a ton of questions to answer. Cody Bellinger, for example, is likely to decline his player option, hoping for a multi-year deal somewhere else after a season that showed flashes of brilliance. He's a player who can change the trajectory of a team, but whether the Yankees can or will lock him up remains to be seen. Trent Grisham, fresh off a breakout season with 34 home runs, is also going to test the market. Will New York be aggressive, or will they let him walk? These are decisions that could define the next chapter of this franchise, yet it feels like the same old hesitation is holding them back. Then there's the first base situation. Paul Goldschmidt, who came in on a one-year deal last December, had his ups and downs, and it's unclear if he's returning as the primary first baseman. That puts Ben Rice in a position where he might finally become the everyday first baseman in 2026. But even that is uncertain. Then we have Austin Wells, who hasn't exactly proven himself behind the plate yet. Is he the long-term catcher? Or is the Yankees front office going to look elsewhere to solve that problem? These aren't small decisions. They're foundational, and how the team approaches them could define whether the Judge era ends with success or disappointment. Pitching is another massive concern. The rotation has names like Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, and Cam Schlitten, which on paper looks strong. But Cole is coming off Tommy John surgery, and how he comes back will impact the team's depth and performance. Then there are the bullpen questions, probably the biggest headache. Evan Williams had a rough season and is likely gone. Luke Weaver's struggles mean he's probably out as well. That leaves David Bednar, Camilo Doval, and maybe Tim Hill. But even then, the Yankees desperately need more left-handed relievers and a bullpen that can actually close games instead of giving them away. You can have the best hitters in the world, but if the pitching can't hold leads, it doesn't matter. That's been the story of this team over the past few years. And unless something changes dramatically, it will continue. What's frustrating about this era is that the pieces have never really come together. Judge has had talent around him at times. Giancarlo Stanton, DJ LeMahieu, even guys like Anthony Rizzo and Aaron Hicks at their peaks. But for the most part, it's felt like he's carrying the team alone. Compare that to the days of Arad, when the Yankees didn't just have stars, they built around them. There was depth, there was balance, and the team spent to maximize the window of greatness. Now it feels like everything is piecemeal, reactive instead of proactive. And it shows every October. The management, again, plays a huge role in this. Aaron Boone has survived season after season despite repeated failures in the playoffs. His decision-making has been questioned relentlessly, and yet here we are. Brian Cashman, meanwhile, is almost untouchable. He has the security of a lifetime job, yet the results haven't matched the talent. It's hard to see accountability in this organization, and without it, the cycle continues. Fans are understandably frustrated. They've watched seasons slip away with the same excuses, the same patterns, and the same lack of urgency. The culture that made the Yankees fearsome seems to be gone, and until it returns, this team will continue to underperform on baseball's biggest stage. It's not just about the failures, though. It's about the emotional toll on fans and players alike. Aaron Judge, for instance, has given everything to this team. The man's a superstar in every sense, consistent clutch, a leader both on and off the field. Yet, every season, no matter how well he performs individually, the team falls short. That disconnect between greatness and results is hard to watch. Fans care deeply, not just about wins, but about seeing justice done for players like Judge who deserve to stand at the top. When it doesn't happen, it's a punch to the gut, not just a disappointment. And it goes beyond just performance. Sports give us real emotion, real connection. We care about the players as people, about their lives off the field as much as on it. Seeing Aaron Judge walking his dog, spending time with family, celebrating a personal milestone, it all matters because it humanizes the stars we cheer for. That's what makes this pain so real when the playoffs arrive and the team falls apart. It's not just losing a game. It's losing a chance to see someone we respect and admire finally get what they've earned. Looking forward, the Yankees have to address these problems with boldness. They need a clear plan at first base, catcher, and in the bullpen. They need to figure out if they're going to spend aggressively in free agency or continue the cautious approach that has cost them opportunities. They need to create a culture that maximizes the talent they already have and builds a team that can finally match Judge's greatness. Without those changes, this era will be remembered more for what could have been than for what actually was. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. The Bronx is buzzing tonight, and the whispers in the dugout just turned into a deafening roar. Jordan Alvarez, the feared slugger who has made pitchers quake across the American League, has reportedly been announced by the New York Yankees. Sources close to the team hint that the deal is practically done, and while the front office remains coy, insiders say this could be one of the most seismic moves in recent Yankees history. Imagine the Bronx Bombers lineup with Alvarez's raw power added to the mix. The mere thought sends chills down the spines of AL pitchers. Known for his ability to hit the ball out of virtually any stadium, Alvarez brings not just home runs, but a presence that changes the entire dynamic of a game. Rumors suggest the Yankees see him as a cornerstone for the next decade, a player capable of redefining what it means to hit in Yankee Stadium. The Bronx faithful are already envisioning late-inning heroics, walk-off blasts, and highlight reels that would make Babe Ruth blink twice. The whispers started quietly, with scouts and insiders dropping hints at local bars and on Twitter threads, but the momentum has been unstoppable. He's a game-changer, one anonymous source said, grinning. You can't even compare him. The power, the patience, the ability to turn any at-bat into a spectacle. It's unreal. Even skeptics are starting to imagine the impossible, a lineup with Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, and now Jordan Alvarez, triple threat territory in the truest sense. The timing, of course, is everything. The Yankees are looking to shake off their postseason frustrations, and adding a bat like Alvarez could tilt the scales in their favor immediately. The rumor mill suggests he could step onto the field before the season's end, instantly altering the stakes of every series. Opponents are reportedly already adjusting strategies, imagining pitchers walking Alvarez early just to avoid the long ball. While nothing is officially confirmed, the Bronx is alive with speculation, chance, and anticipation. If even half of this rumor proves true, the Yankees may have just secured the power bat that turns whispers into legends. Keep your eyes on the ticker, because the Bronx is about to get loud. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.